Hey there, and welcome back to the show. Guys, I am just returning from the Great American Speak Off, where I was actually witnessing 100 and I think it was 140. I might be wrong. It was between 130 and 150 participants took the stage to become have the title of the Great American Speaker, the winner of the Speak Off. So it was super interesting to hear the stories, to watch the presentations, and to be able to see the behind the scenes. So I did VIP. I was not participating. So I wasn't there to win. I was there to watch, witness, and experience. And kind of blew my mind. What I loved most about it is the courage, the commitment that it took for these people to get that far. The title was brought all the way down to the semifinals. Well, sorry about that, not the title, the placement narrowed down to 30 and then 3. And so they ended up taking 2 more as a bonus. So there will be 5 that will be speaking for the finals at the GrowthCon stage. That's going to happen in April. So I loved being part of the process. I was able to watch in the rooms and see all of the feedback and actually take place in part of the voting. So go into the room and see how they run this thing. And I'm going to be doing my signature talk next week. So I'm going to be dialing in. For those who remember from the beginning of the year, my word this year is refine, and it is about refining my image, my message, my business. I want to kind of like cut away the fat, the things that are not taking me closer to what I want. I want to narrow in. I want more precision in my business. I've narrowed in my process, like as a mind-body coach, as well as a business strategist. I'm loving all of that. So this kind of brought it all together. So what I'm going to be talking about today is, what does it mean to boss up? Like, how do I boss up and own or claim my results? So for all of you who are practitioners and coaches, salon and spa and clinic owners, this one is for you. So I'm just going to cover a few of the basics of what bossing up means to me and to some of my guests that I've been interviewing. And it is all about unlocking your potential. Potential of what are you actually able to create with your life? The potential of profitability, prosperity, so important. We live in a material world. So it's kind of everything when you really think about money. It allows you to have the experience you want, to create the impact you want, and to fulfill your satisfaction, desires, and needs. And the very last thing is bossing up to unlock your relationships with people. So those people are your clients, your customers, your team, and even your loved ones. It all matters. We actually don't have a business without people. There has to be people. And if you want to scale, it's really important that you have the right people on your team and on your side. So let's get to, what is bossing up? Like, how do I boss up? What does that mean? The very first thing, it is about choosing. You get to choose what you want to create. So just take a moment and think about this. Has anyone ever asked you, what do you want to create in your life? If you are the creator of your results, of your experience, what does that look like to you? Making a decision is not only the first step, it's the most important step. Most people won't get results. They won't get their needs and desires met because they won't decide. And many of us won't decide because we were never taught that it was an option, that we could create whatever we wanted. Would you agree? I know for me, it wasn't. I was talking to a client today about this. What do you want to create? How do you want to participate in life? And she was like, I actually don't know. I think many of us have stifled our dreams. We've been told to dial it down, keep it small, don't try to be too big. And so it's kind of created this atrophy in our imagination and in our belief. So the very first thing is to decide, choose what you want. And I'm just going to give you a little hint. Double whatever it is that you wrote down, because I guarantee you're thinking too small. Number 2, commit. You have to commit so deeply to yourself, to whoever you're going to be doing business with, to your family, to your loved ones. You've got to commit to your future self. And you've got to commit to that soulful part of yourself. You've got to commit to your purpose. Commitment is not just saying it, it's physically feeling it in your body. I am so committed. Nothing will stop me. I'm committed to greatness. I'm committed to courageous moves and boldness. I'm committed to moving through the fear, through the doubt, through the disbelief. So the second step is committing. And the third is cultivating as if it already were. So that is becoming the person that lives in a state of those results before it ever happens. I know a lot of us want to see the results first, and then we think we can claim it, but that's not how it works. You have to claim it. You have to believe it. You have to physically, viscerally imagine, if there's a such word, imaginarily, you have to imagine it has already happened first, and then it will come to you. So if you really think about this, someone asked me yesterday, we did a call on helping your clients get quicker results. And her question was about the distance between claiming it and having it, between believing it and getting it. And here's what I told her. If we were ignorant to it not having it, not even being a possibility that it couldn't happen, we would get it sooner. We would get it guaranteed for sure. Think about when you were a child and you were taught to believe in Santa, in the Tooth Fairy, right? The Easter Bunny. That ignorance, meaning not knowing different from what you were told, worked. It worked. You believed it, and then you saw it. But that childlike wonder kind of evaporates as we get older and we get real and we get practical. I'm going to ask you to come back to the childlike wonder. Maybe it's just while you're listening to this. Maybe it's just for today or just for this week. But play around with it. Matter of fact, take crayons or a paper and a pen and pencil and draw out what your results would look like if you were drawing it on like a picture of it on a paper. So if you wanted to speak in front of 2,000 people, then you draw the stadium, you draw the stage, you draw the chairs, and you put the little people in the chairs, and then you draw yourself on the stage. Maybe you even draw the city that you're in. Maybe you put a sign on top of the page. Take at least 5 to 15 minutes and write about it, tell a story about it, make up stories around who's there, what are they wearing, what is the music like. See if you can really get into it. That's cultivating as if it already were. It is being able to step into a make-believe state before you ever see it happen. And this is like the magical part of manifesting and creating is you have to be able to imagine it and feel it and to get into the details. Like this person was sitting on this row, and I was the third person to speak, and the crowd roared. How do you say that? Roared with excitement. Everyone stood up and applauded. They were so excited that I was there. They were inspired. They were motivated by my presence. Like get into the story and see if you can expand it. Like imagine you were writing this for someone to do a play, like you were a playwright, you were writing out the script for it. Get into it. That's step number 3. Number 4, you will need to cut away. You will need to get rid of something. So in order to have something new, you have to get rid of something else. So if you had a closet full of clothes and you went shopping, you would need to make room. You'd need to make space. Right? If you were getting a new car, you would need to move that car out of the carport to have the parking place available for the new car. Whenever you want to create something new, when you want it to materialize in your world, you have to create the space for it. And in order to create the space for it, you need to clear something else out. So the first thing is you have to choose, you have to claim it. You have to commit to it. Now, this is going to require you to physically take action. If you're committed, you are moving towards the goal. It is an active event. You're physically moving. The third one is cultivating. That is the imagining and the assumptive language. So you're even speaking about it as if it already happened. Listen, if you don't want to tell another human about it, just write and draw about it in the morning and again in the evening, and use the words, I am. I am happy and grateful that I have created a business that is 6 figures in revenue, and I'm serving people all over the world. My company generates thousands of dollars and helps thousands of people. You're just going to write that story, and you're going to write it as if it's happening right now, today. And I want you to feel it in your body, feel the excitement, feel the anticipation. And then you're going to decide what needs to go. What do you need to get rid of it? Is it doubt and disbelief? Is it the old belief system and the old patterns of scarcity and not having, of being too reasonable, too practical? Do you need to cut that away so that you can step into a dreamy, imaginative state? What do you need to get rid of? It might be cutting conversations with people who don't believe what you believe. I'm not saying cut people out of your life. I'm talking about cutting the conversation that is challenged. So if you're not able to talk about it freely and other people be not in agreement with you, then don't have the conversation with them. Because that's probably over 50% of the battle. Is it takes a lot of work to stay in belief. And when you're in an environment that's telling you to tone it down, to not dream too big, that's never going to happen to you. That doesn't work for people like us. Guys, you got to cut the conversation. You can keep the people, but talk about something else that you're in agreement of, because it is more natural for you to dilute your belief than it is for them to elevate to your belief. It's just the way gravity works. It's just the way our brain works. We have been entertained by disbelief for a very long time. You were not born with disbelief. You were taught disbelief. You were conditioned to be careful, to be cautious, to not dream too big. Someone taught you that. Maybe you are indoctrinated. In other words, you've put yourself in a space, in a community where they didn't believe, and you've been indoctrinated and contaminated by their limited thinking. So I want you to do the complete opposite. I want you to expand the goal. I want you to think bigger. I want you to get uncomfortable, because the entire process to getting there is going to be uncomfortable anyway. You could think of it as exposure therapy, like just exposing myself to discomfort so that I can normalize and neutralize it. Because I'm going to tell you a few things that happen along this journey. First of all, once you decide, things open up for you. I guarantee you. I have talked to people who have been just thinking about getting a divorce, thinking about quitting their job, thinking about starting a business for 10 and 15 years. And they're like waiting for something to come to them by chance, like to send them a sign. But you're not going to get that because you haven't decided. Once you decide, those opportunities will come, but you have to decide first. And I don't make up the rules, guys. I just learned how to play by them. So that's the first thing that's going to happen is as soon as you make a definite decision, the seas are going to part for you. You're going to feel this in your body. You're going to feel the expansion, and suddenly you'll start meeting people, the right people in the right places. And the part about commitment, you're going to be challenged. You're going to have resistance. You committed, and now comes the test. And that's when discipline comes in. So if you were truly committed, think about the time where you said you were going to do something. Maybe it was running a 5K, or it was losing 20 pounds, or it was earning $2,000. Think about the time when you were really, really committed. Nothing got in your way. You were so disciplined, you were so driven, and you were in momentum. And that, my friend, is where you want to get today. Take yourself back to when you were committed and when you were disciplined. Take yourself back to when you were driven, when you were in that momentum. And then the next step is to cultivate as if it were. Double. If you just said, I want to speak in front of 1,000 people, double the number and put 2,000 people. And notice the unease, notice the discomfort. You might even start thinking, oh my God, what am I going to wear? I need to lose weight. I want to get my hair done. Like you might actually start anticipating all of the things that you need to get done. And that is what you want to do. This is a time to play and expand like a visionary. I want you to get a 360 view on top of the theater you're going to be speaking at, or looking over your bank account where you're creating that money or where you are committing to those clients. I want you to see the forms, see the contracts, see them on your email list, see them come through your PayPal or your Stripe account. I want you to actually see it happening. Cultivating as if it were is taking yourself into the future and experiencing it from that perspective. Now, this might take a little bit of practice. You're going to have to play around with it a little bit. We're not used to doing this. But again, exposure therapy. Get used to being uncomfortable. Get used to whatever comes up in your body. Get used to feeling the doubts and the fear. I remember specifically when I was about to hit a really big goal. I was in a direct sales company, and the moment I felt it was like solid, it was for real. I was about $1,500 from hitting it. My whole body went into fright. Like it just started zapping me. And I was like, oh my God, this is a limiting belief. This is what it feels like to hit an upper limit. So when you feel that, pause and just notice it. Allow it to move. You just have to stay there 90 seconds. It's going to move through you. So don't eject, don't check out. Stay in, allow the discomfort to process, keep envisioning, keep taking yourself to that 360 view. And in that moment, right then and there, whatever comes up that created the doubt and fear, create a plan for cutting it away. Like, how are you going to pivot? How are you going to deal with this? What are you going to let go of? Because that's the fourth and final step. Now, after you do these 4 steps, there is a fifth, and it is working on your ability to have and receive. This is a real deal because these 4 steps I promise you they work. But what typically happens is we start to bring the results towards us. Think about when you took the first 10 pounds off, or when you got the first $10,000, or you signed up the first 2 clients. Think about what happened. There was like this excitement, and there was this relief, and then you're in it, and then something happens to the momentum, something happens to the drive. That is when you know you hit a glass ceiling. But this time, I want you to make it different. This time, don't fall for it. Don't check out. Stay with the discomfort. Expose yourself to becoming normalized and neutralized in the discomfort. So what that means is you want to regulate the nervous system to be able to sustain whatever's going on in the physical body. This is the part that I think makes the biggest difference. Because if you check out right here, you don't actually receive what else was coming. And that is where we close the door. That is where we hit the ceiling. When we check out of the belief, because we haven't grown our capacity to have and to receive. So that is how you boss up. Very first thing is you make a decision. You commit and you bring in discipline. You expand your imagination and you start to experience life from the position of already creating it. You cut away anything and anyone in any conversation and anything in your imagination that says you can't do it. Matter of fact, you stop giving into excuses. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. If you say you're not going to do something, don't do it. You become a person who honors your word, and anything else has to be cut away. And then you open yourself to fully receive, to have, to believe that you are worthy of having it, to have and to hold, to stand grounded and firm that you are worthy of having it. You are a creator and you can create anything you want. So bossing up is about unpacking, up leveling, and unlocking. Right? Are you ready to boss up?